In this video, I'm going to show you 10 signs that prove you're a well-mannered person. Hi, how are you? Welcome to the Etiquette and Protocol channel. I'm Juliana Santiago, a teacher and etiquette specialist. And in this video, we're going to talk a little more about what makes someone come across as polite. That person you look at, talk to, see, and have a relationship with. And then you get that impression like, wow, Maria's polite, João is polite. What are the signs that this person shows you that make you have that impression? The first factor that makes someone come across as polite is thinking about others, respecting others, having consideration for other people. So when you are in an environment, how do you behave towards others? For example, do you respect the rules of that place? Do you respect other people's space? For example, you're at the supermarket and you need to park your shopping cart between the aisles. Do you leave your cart there, blocking the middle of the aisle, or do you park it a little to the side to give space to other people? When there's a line, for example, at the bank or a lottery shop, do you cut in line? Do you go to the priority counter without actually being someone with special needs? How is your behavior and attitude in a restaurant? In a restaurant, do you speak so loudly that you bother the other tables? For example, do you leave your chair too far back so you have more space and the person behind you can't even sit properly, In restaurants, when there are tables one behind the other, some people leave a lot of space for themselves. But they forget that there's another person behind them who also needs to have a comfortable space to be there. At the movies, you keep using your phone so much that its light bothers the people who are there with you. You use your phone inside the movie theater and then you keep other people from watching the movie. All of these are actions that show care for others. So if you are a well-mannered person, you naturally put the other person first. And the best behavior for that environment, you respect the rules of that place because you know that caring for others is very important. Another point as well, which is one of the keys that makes a person well-mannered. It's about the way you treat other people, not just the way you behave in front of others that's important, but also giving respect and consideration to those people. But how do you treat people? How do you treat people you don't know, people you're not close to? How do you treat people who are in different social circumstances than you, for example? So it's important for us to know how to deal with all kinds of people, to treat everyone well without treating anyone differently. Treating others with care and attention certainly makes a person be considered well-mannered, and it's much more than just treating others well. You need to treat everyone well, the people who work at your company, the people who work for you, and the people who work with you. There is no difference in the way we should treat people. Everyone should be treated well and with respect. Another factor that also causes someone to lose the reputation of being considered polite. It's someone who wants to appear superior or too intelligent. People don't like to feel inferior. That's natural for human beings. No one likes to feel bad around you, so you need to stop, right? In your case, this habit of putting yourself first, trying to look smarter, trying to seem superior, whether it's because of financial reasons or any other reason, is not good. And they won't see you as a polite person. Quite the opposite. They'll see you as an arrogant person. And you might even have values that aren't well regarded in our society. So be very careful when you talk about money, how much you make, the positions you have, the title you hold. Analyze the context very carefully before bringing up this kind of topic and see if it's appropriate. Another factor that also makes someone come across as rude is when a person talks too much. So be very careful if you're someone who tends to monopolize conversations, When we're in a group conversation and only one person talks, be very careful with that. respect and take into consideration the other people who share that space with you. They also need to have their moment to speak, their moment to bring up points, to raise questions. That's what makes a conversation interesting. A conversation is a dialogue. It's not a lecture. So monopolizing the conversation the whole time, it will show that you are someone who wants to talk more about yourself and doesn't really want to listen to what the other person has to say. Another factor related to conversations that I think is important to highlight is not just the fact that you monopolize the conversation, but also understanding that listening to the other person is essential. And I think this is a very important point to highlight, and it helps a person be seen as well-mannered. So every time the other person talks to you, communicates with you, or interacts with you during a conversation, know how to listen to what the other person has to say, what the other person wants to share, and show interest. Show that you are truly and genuinely interested in what the other person has to say to you. So listen, it's very important for us to learn how to listen. Many times we're in an environment where there are a lot of people talking, a lot of people calling out to us. One says one thing, another says something else. And some people, sometimes because they're more shy, often don't get a chance to speak. So it's important for us to often notice, to read the situation, to notice these people and let them speak a little too. That will certainly in that group show that you are someone who cares about everyone and that everyone's opinion is very important to you. And if you're enjoying the channel and like the content I share here, don't forget to subscribe to the Etiquette e Protocolo channel. Don't forget to like this video, it really helps a lot. And take the opportunity to follow me on social media, especially on Instagram, where every day in my stories, I open a question box so we can talk more about etiquette and good behavior. I'm waiting for you there too. Another factor that also makes you be considered a polite person is the matter of expressing thanks. Knowing how to say thank you is essential. Unfortunately, many people confuse the feeling of gratitude, of being grateful, with the act of saying thank you. So let's look at these two factors here. Gratitude is closely related to being grateful, to having affection, a real feeling of gratitude, happiness, and recognition for what someone else has done for you. But the act of saying thank you is a more precise action. So for example, it's when you actually receive something and say thank you, or when you get invited to a party and thank the person. You receive a gift that comes with a card and you open the card first, then the gift. This feeling here, this attitude of saying thank you is a little different from the feeling of gratitude. Because sometimes you're very grateful for a gift you received, you're very grateful for an experience you had. But you forget to actually have that attitude of saying thank you and even to really notice it. When you receive an invitation, when you get something from someone, don't forget to say thank you, even for a compliment. That will definitely make you a more elegant person. And also, speaking of gestures and attitudes, do we need to mention that polite people have the habit of apologizing? They know when they're wrong, when they've crossed a line, and they realize that acknowledging their mistake is the best way forward. We don't need to be right and perfect in everything we do. It's natural for slip-ups to happen, for us to eventually make mistakes, to drop the ball sometimes. So having that awareness and making the effort to apologize is something very noble. And it makes you an extremely polite person because you know what's right and you realize that you didn't do the right thing. So are you humble enough to recognize that you want to make things right in that relationship and undo what you did? Another factor that also makes you be considered a polite person is table etiquette, table manners. It's something that makes it very easy for people to see that you are a polite person. So the way you hold your fork, the way you hold your knife, the way you position your cutlery, the way you cut your food, the way you hold a glass, all of this will come through in your actions. Because when you eat, People will be able to observe you, that you are a polite person, that you have good manners. So this will definitely make a big difference for you to stand out and have the image of a well-mannered person. And if you are looking for this, if you have a lot of difficulty with table etiquette, don't forget to sign up for our table etiquette training. It's a quick, easy to follow and dynamic training for anyone who wants to learn good table manners in a simple, approachable way. It's a very quick, very dynamic course that will really make it easier for you to have good table manners. And the good news is that you, a follower here on the channel who has never taken any training at our school, at the Institute of Etiquette and Protocol, you can participate and get a special first-time purchase discount by using the promo code YouTube. This coupon is showing up here on the screen. When you register, use this coupon. It will give you a discount and you can join this training. I'm sure you're going to really enjoy it. It's a training that thousands of people have already taken. Still talking about the issue of well-mannered people, right? What makes a person well-mannered? Certainly, honesty and integrity are things that make a person be considered well-mannered. That person who is ethical, who is committed to what she says, who is upright in her actions, a person who is honest, will certainly be considered a well-mannered person. No one wants to have people with different values around them, right? So values like ethics, honesty, integrity, right? Honoring what you say, honoring who you are, makes all the difference for people to see you as a genuine person, and no one wants otherwise. For example, you say, I don't know that you have one job, but actually you have another. No, that's not cool. That will create confusion in that person's mind, and they'll get the impression that they can't trust you. And if there's one thing that's essential for building a relationship between two people, it's definitely trust. So the more you show that person through your actions and values that they can trust you, she likes you more. She ends up feeling more drawn to you. She likes you more. So it's important to notice this, and for sure, a well-mannered person stays calm in stressful moments. So it's a person who doesn't lose their temper easily, who doesn't say things that might hurt the other person in a more impulsive or rude way. So it's important for us to notice this, because staying calm in difficult situations shows who you really are. And a well-mannered person remains calm even in extremely delicate situations. And you might ask me, Ju, how can I handle myself well in conflict situations? The good news is that I've already made a video here on the channel, which I'll link here for you to watch. So I'll wrap up here and see you in the next video. Bye.